Rivals of Ixalan is just around the corner, and it has given us a lot of new tools to help the tribes established in the original Ixalan set. So in celebration of the new set, I decided to create a deck tech of what I believe to be a fairly competitive aggro vampires list. So let's get started. This is Black-White Vampires. This deck isn't joking around when it comes to vampires, as we are running 30-hull vampire creatures main board, with a couple of other cards serving as honorary vampires too. At the bottom of the curve, we are going to be running 11 1-drops, including 4 copies of Vicious Conquistador and 4 copies of Skymarch Aspirant, which are both extremely good aggressive 1-drop vampires. The Conquistador is a card that attacks in for 2, and has already proven itself to be a very strong card in mono-black aggro, and Skymarch Aspirant is a 1-mana 2/1. Its Ascend trigger is cool, but even without it, the Aspirant is a strong card just as a 1-mana 2-power creature. Outside of these 2 cards, we are also running 3 copies of Legion's Landing, our final 1-drop that isn't quite a creature, but it does crit a 1/1 lifelinker, so it's close enough. Plus, the land it gives us upon flipping is extremely useful to help us play out our hand and flood the board. And the token generation isn't bad either. We can use it when we have nothing going on in our hand, guaranteeing we'll have something to do every single turn. Now that we've got our 1-drops out of the way, let's move on to our 2-drops. First up, we've got a playset of Adanto Vanguard, which is honestly the strongest 2-drop we've got. It's essentially a 3/1 with Indestructible for 2 mana, as the health cost for the Indestructible is honestly no big deal, as you will generally be the aggressor, and the Indestructible guarantees that your 2-drop will live, even if your opponent left up removal for it, which is great. Aside from the Vanguard, we are also going to be playing a playset of Metallic Mimic and Legion Leiutenant. Metallic Mimic is just a tribal all-star that acts as a pseudo-lord, giving all new vampires you summon a permanent +1/+1 boost. Other than that, Legion Leiutenant is an actual lord, pumping all our vampires on board, allowing us to make massive swings at our opponent. The final 2-drop we are playing is 3 copies of the Black Elvish Visionary, Dusk Legion Zealot. A 2-mana cycler that adds a vampire body to the board is extremely powerful, as it helps our go-wide strategy while simultaneously digging through our deck to find our finishers. Don't sleep on this card just because it's only a 1/1. It's the real deal, trust me. To further help us go wide with vampires, we are going to run 3 copies of Mavren Fein, a fantastic token generator that creates tokens whenever you swing in with a non-token vampire. An unanswered Mavren Fein can be extremely powerful, generating a lot of tokens, and with all the lords we're playing in this deck, and the pseudo-lords, all these tokens are actually really threatening too. All this actually makes Mavren Fein one of our most important cards in the deck. That's why we're running 3 copies of it, even though it's legendary. It's that good. The other 3-drop we are running is 4 copies of Legion Conquistador, the standard Squadron Hawk. This card may not seem that strong at first, but a 3-mana 2/2 that draws 3 cards is extremely strong. This helps with our ability to flood the board and gives us a hand refill when we are nearly out of cards. And at the top end of our curve, we are going to run 4 copies of Sanctum Seeker, which is actually the strongest card in the deck and the best payoff for playing vampires. The card acts as another pseudo-lord, draining your opponent whenever you attack with a vampire. In this go-wide aggro vampire deck, many times you can drain your opponent for 4 to 5 health on the turn you play Sanctum Seeker, even before damage. And Sanctum Seeker only gets better in multiples as the drains stack. It is an extremely good finisher. And that's the deck. Yeah, no instants or sorceries main board. Just add 4 Concealed Courtyards, 4 Unclaimed Territories, 3 Shefet Dunes, 6 Plains, and 6 Swamps, and you'll be good to go. In the sideboard, we are going to run a playset of Duress to get rid of removal and board clears in our opponent's hand. Then we are going to run 3 copies of Gifted Aetherborn to help fight against aggro. Outside of that, we are also going to run 2 Gideons of the Trial and 2 Aethersphere Harvesters to help diversify our threats a bit. We are going to run 2 Castouts to remove any permanents giving us trouble. And finally, we are going to run 2 Bishop of the Bloodstained to add extra reach damage to our opponent. And that's the entire deck. It is honestly extremely strong in my playtesting, and I feel it has an honest chance at being competitive. But anyways, comment down below how you feel about the deck, maybe if you do anything to change it, and I'll see you guys later.